Have you ever caught yourself saying yes when every part of you was screaming no? You smile, nod, and agree. Not because you truly want to, but because something deep inside tells you it's safer to be liked than to be real. This isn't kindness. This isn't empathy. This is survival. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." And maybe that's why you've spent so much of your life trying to be what others expect. Because being liked feels easier than being judged. Being quiet feels safer than being misunderstood. And adapting to everyone else's needs feels like the only way to belong. But here's the truth you've been avoiding. Every time you betray your true self just to fit in, a piece of you disappears. You shrink. You dim your light. You become a version of yourself that isn't even you anymore. And the scariest part? You've gotten so good at pleasing others, you might not even know who you are without the mask. But that ends today. This video isn't about more tips, hacks, or positive affirmations. It's a wake-up call, a psychological mirror. Because if you've ever felt lost in the role of the nice one, the easygoing one, the always there for everyone one, Carl Jung's insights might just set you free. By the end of this, you won't just understand why you people please. You'll finally have the courage to stop, not out of anger, but out of love. Real love. The kind that starts with accepting yourself. Let's talk about the mask. Not the one you put on for costume parties or social media selfies. I mean the invisible one. The version of you that smiles on command, agrees to keep the peace, and hides every impulse that might rock the boat. Carl Jung called this the persona. It's the social face we wear to survive in the world, to be accepted, respected, included. But what happens when you wear the mask for too long? You forget it's even there. You begin to think, this is just who I am. You convince yourself that being easy to love means never being difficult, never disappointing anyone, never taking up too much space. But deep down, you feel it, don't you? That quiet exhaustion, that growing resentment, that hollow ache in your chest when you say yes again, knowing full well it cost you another piece of your soul. Jung warned us, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But you can't become your true self while clinging to a mask built from fear. You can't heal if you keep numbing yourself with approval. And you definitely can't be free if your worth is still being measured by how useful or agreeable you are to others. Here's the hardest truth you'll hear today. People-pleasing is not a sign of kindness. It's a symptom of fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of abandonment. Fear of being seen as too much. But the only thing worse than being misunderstood is being accepted for someone you're not. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop hiding. You weren't born afraid to disappoint people. You didn't come into this world apologizing for your needs or filtering your truth to make others comfortable. That was taught. Somewhere along the way, you learned that love could be earned and lost. Maybe it was a parent who only gave affection when you were good. Maybe it was a teacher who praised your silence but punished your expression. Maybe it was society that told you, be nice, be agreeable, don't make waves. So you adapted. You became what they needed you to be, not out of weakness, but out of survival. This is what Jung meant when he said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You didn't choose to become a people pleaser. But unless you question where that pattern came from, it will keep running your life unconsciously. You'll keep shrinking yourself in relationships. You'll keep working jobs that drain you. You'll keep saying yes when your soul is begging you to scream no. Not because you're weak, but because a younger version of you still believes that being nice is the only way to feel safe, valued, and loved. It's time to interrupt that belief. You're not that scared child anymore. You have the power now to protect the self you've been hiding for years. The question is, will you? Every time you smile when you want to scream, every time you agree when your gut says no, every time you put others first while you quietly fall apart, you create a war within yourself. One part of you just wants peace, wants everyone to like you, wants to avoid conflict, rejection, shame. But there's another part, a deeper, quieter, truer part. That's tired of playing small. That part is angry, frustrated, lonely, and dangerously close to giving up on you. Because while you're busy protecting everyone else's comfort, you're abandoning your own truth. Carl Jung didn't sugarcoat this. He wrote, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." And that's exactly what people-pleasing is, a way to avoid ourselves. We think we're being noble, selfless, compassionate, but often we're just afraid to be disliked, afraid to be seen, afraid to admit that beneath all the smiles, we're not okay. But here's the paradox. The more you betray yourself to be accepted, the more alone you actually feel. Because no one truly knows you. They only know the version you've performed. And deep inside, you know it's not real. This war between your truth and your performance cannot go on forever. Eventually, something breaks. Your body, your mind, your relationships, or your will to keep pretending. But you don't have to wait for the breakdown. You can choose something different. Now, you can choose to stop pleasing and start living. There comes a moment. Not loud, not dramatic, just quiet and undeniable. It might happen while you're standing in the shower, feeling empty, or in the middle of a conversation, nodding along while your heart whispers, "I don't care." Or maybe it hits you at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling thinking, "I can't keep living like this." That's the moment the mask starts to crack. Not because you figured everything out, but because your soul is done waiting. Carl Jung believed that every human being has a self, not the ego you show the world, but the true center of your being. And when you're disconnected from it for too long, it begins to call you back. First with whispers, then with discomfort, and finally, with a crisis that forces you to choose: continue performing or begin becoming. Most people ignore that call. They push it down. They tell themselves, "I'm just tired. I'm just busy. I'm fine." But you're still here, listening, feeling this message deep in your chest. Because part of you knows the life you're living isn't yours. It's a patchwork of expectations, fears, and roles you never agreed to. And now you're being invited to burn the script, to risk being misunderstood, so you can finally be seen, to let go of being nice so you can be real, to stop chasing acceptance so you can accept yourself. This is your turning point. Don't miss it. She was the kind of woman everyone liked. Helpful, warm, always available. At work, she stayed late without complaint. In her family, she was the emotional glue. the one who remembered birthdays, smoothed over arguments, and carried everyone's pain like it was her own. She wore the mask so well, even she forgot it was there. Until one day, it cracked. It wasn't a major event. No big betrayal, no life-shattering moment. Just a simple conversation. Her friend asked if she was okay, and out of habit she said, "I'm fine." But this time, something inside her screamed, "No, I'm not." The words echoed silently in her mind, louder than anything spoken aloud. She went home, closed the door, sat on the edge of her bed and stared at the floor for what felt like hours. And then she cried. Not the kind of cry that begs for comfort. The kind that comes from years of swallowing pain, silencing truth, and stretching yourself so thin you don't even recognize your reflection anymore. She wasn't fine. She was exhausted, lonely, and angry. Not at others, but at herself. For saying yes when she meant no, for smiling through tears, for disappearing in rooms full of people just to make sure they felt seen. That night, she made a decision. Not to become someone else, but to finally return to herself. Not everyone would like the new version of her, but she was done pleasing, done performing, done being loved for who she wasn't. When she started saying no, people noticed. Some pulled away, some got offended, some called her selfish. She wasn't surprised. After all, they weren't used to her. They were used to the version she had trained them to expect. The agreeable one, the fixer, the one who made their lives easier by silencing her own truth. And now? Now she said things like, "No, I don't have the energy for that," or "I actually disagree," or simply, "That doesn't feel right to me." And each time her voice grew stronger. Carl Jung wrote, "The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. If you try it, you will often be lonely and sometimes frightened. But no price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself." Yes, it was hard. She lost a few people. She disappointed expectations. She even felt guilt rise up like a tidal wave every time she put herself first. But behind that guilt was something else. Peace. Because finally, she was no longer betraying herself for temporary approval. She was building something far more valuable: self-respect. And here's what surprised her most. While some people faded away, others stepped closer. People who saw her. Not the mask, not the role, her. Because the moment you stop hiding is the moment the right people begin to find you. But you won't meet them if you keep pretending to be someone else. Now let's talk about you. How much of your life is built on pleasing others? How many friendships are held together by your silence? How many yeses have you said this week that you didn't mean? How many times have you smiled, nodded, and agreed just to keep the peace? You're not weak. You're not broken. You're not a pushover. You're just tired. Tired of carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations. Tired of being the glue that holds everyone together while you're quietly falling apart. You've been trained to think that if people are happy with you, then you're doing life right. But here's the truth. Being liked by everyone means you've probably abandoned yourself somewhere along the way. Carl Jung didn't want us to be polite copies of one another. He wanted us to be whole, to integrate our shadow, to face the parts of us we've been taught to hide, the anger, the boundaries, the no. Because healing doesn't come from being nice, it comes from being honest. You can be kind and have limits. You can love others and choose yourself. You can disappoint people and still be a good person. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that keeps you invisible. And if that makes some people uncomfortable, let it. Because the ones who truly love you, they don't need you to shrink. They just need you to be real. No one teaches you how to stop pleasing people. They teach you to be polite, to be helpful, to be the bigger person. But they never teach you the cost of constantly putting others first. They don't tell you how it chips away at your identity, how it fills your heart with quiet resentment, how it makes you forget what you actually want. But now you know. And you can't unknow it. You're standing at the edge of a choice. You can go back to smiling through discomfort, to being what everyone expects, to living small. Or you can take the leap into discomfort, into boundaries, into authenticity. It won't be easy. You'll lose people. You'll be misunderstood. You'll question yourself on the hard days. But you'll wake up with peace in your chest. You'll look in the mirror and recognize your own eyes again. And slowly, you'll rebuild trust with the one person you've abandoned for far too long: yourself. Carl Jung would tell you this: the world doesn't need more agreeable people. It needs more whole people. People who have faced their shadows. People who speak their truth with love. People who aren't afraid to be real, even if it makes others uncomfortable. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to have needs. You are allowed to stop performing and start existing. Fully, honestly, unapologetically. This isn't just a video. It's a declaration. You're done being invisible. Done bending yourself into shapes that don't fit. Done shrinking to fit someone else's comfort. Today, you choose something else. You choose to be seen, to be heard, to be you. Carl Jung believed that true freedom is the courage to face your whole self, the light and the darkness, without apology. And here's the truth. The moment you stop pleasing others at the cost of your own soul, you step into a power no one can take from you. The power of authenticity. The power of boundaries. The power of self-love. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. So, if you're ready to stop being a people pleaser, if you're ready to reclaim your voice, if you're ready to finally be free, start now. Look in the mirror, take a deep breath, and say, I am enough. I deserve to be me, and I will never apologize for it again. Your freedom is waiting. Go claim it.